Hello, I'm here with Johnna, my new friend and employee at my wonderful and very chilly willy apartment complex here in central Houston. Johnna, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, David.
So, a little introduction here. Johnna is an employee here. So, you seem like a manager. Are you the assistant manager or?
No, so official title is leasing consultant, but I mean the office itself is management. So we still do like resident management. We manage incoming traffic, the whole nine. So technically, I guess yes, but the title is leasing.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I think you'd be a great
Thank you.
apartment manager.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So we met the other day and discussed what we're going to discuss today. So I have a lot of questions because Johnna is 29 years old,
Mhm.
and she's right there in the middle of the millennial age. So tell us a little bit about your background, your religious upbringing, and your education.
So background, I grew up all over the place, kind of up and down like the East Coast. So I know I was telling you before, I grew up in private schools, mainly Christian and then Catholic. I had like a bit Catholic in there too. But in high school, I got out of private school and went to public school, so non-religious schools. So my religious background, I mean, my dad is Baptist. He even owns a church, like his family church, so I went there a lot too when I was younger. And then my mom grew up Catholic. She's West African too, so when she came to America, she kind of still had Catholic, but also leaned more Christian. I think that's when we got kind of both of those educations too. So religious background is a blend. I would say definitely a mix, but I would say I leaned more Christian while growing up. But after that, once I got in school, once I started meeting a lot of different people because I lived in so many different like areas and states, I kind of just realized maybe it wasn't so like black and white with how things I was taught. I just started realizing a lot of like differences in what I was taught versus the real world. And this was like when I was like teen, like 14, 15-ish. So I started like seeing a lot of different things then. And then really to my early 20s, just asking a lot of questions, also online a lot, so researching, just like hearing other people's opinions, which is another thing. We have so much like information and we're able to share so much information. So you're able to see, again, different perspectives from different people. So that was interesting too. But yeah, it was really that. I would say it's really just like my life experiences kind of like just opened me up in a way. So I'm not really like one religion or just one way. I kind of see like the possibilities of everything. And that all really makes sense to me, that there wouldn't be just like one way to do something or to believe something even. It's just like, multiple ways because we're all different people. Exactly. So I don't know, that's kind of how I see it. So that's how I'm here. That's where I ended up.
And then education, you went to college.
And then, so education, I did. I went to college in Virginia, community college. And then after that, I kind of didn't really know what I wanted to do, if I'm being honest. So I just stopped after that, after my first 2 years. And I've been thinking, though, it's funny, a lot about going back for studying like engineering, because I like math. And I do like a bit of science too. So I've been thinking about that a little bit. But mainly, I read a lot too, and also I'm a YouTube fiend too. Yeah. So I like to like just hear other people's opinions and learn some stuff like from experience too.
Good. Yeah, so you're an objective thinker and open-minded person.
I think I would categorize myself as that.
All right, now for the good stuff. I've got 5 quick questions, and I want to know how we can make these communities, whether they're religious or non-religious, more appealing to your age group.
Right.
Okay, number 1, Johnna. To your knowledge, are Sunday morning churches, the way they are now, and the church-like communities that we would call secular, like Oasis is, appealing to young people the way they are right now?
I would say no. Just short answer, no. And probably, if I had to give reason, because of the like stigma behind it, just because a lot of us grew up with parents who were very religious, And just now that religion doesn't really like fit in or just blend with what we're currently learning about like the world, like the state of the world, and even how we communicate with each other of different like backgrounds, religious backgrounds and things. So I would just say the structure of it right now, no, does not really fit in with what is currently going on, like with how, it just doesn't really blend right now. It's not up to date.
I like that.
Yeah, it's
not
just
up to date. And that's what I'm about. I want to find out what is up to date so we can make it more appealing to younger people. Question number 2.
Okay.
As a millennial, do you think that technology, now we discussed this the other day a little bit, right? Technology, this thing right here, iPhone, social media has isolated people and created more depression and loneliness, even in your age group.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's been like tons of studies on that too. A really good actually like documentary you watch on that is The Social Dilemma, if you've seen it on Netflix. It died like CEOs of like Twitter and like all types of people are on that documentary, and they're literally sharing too how they don't even let their children like partake so much in the phones and like social media and things because it's a huge distraction. And it really is isolating. It is definitely isolating for a lot of people too, because that's like your only form of communication. Like I think the idea is like we have access to everybody, we can communicate with everybody, but then once you get into it, you kind of find yourself like communicating almost with yourself, like with you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
that's a good point.
it's just, it doesn't really work maybe the way that they thought it was. So and then you double it with like a pandemic, right? So people had to be even more isolated and couldn't even like touch one another or things like that, like see your friends on a regular basis or family. So that's a whole another added layer that we are still trying to bounce back from, mind you. We haven't even had like a collective, healing or like recognition of that either. So yeah, it's a lot. But yeah, the phones are definitely leading to a lot of issues, but hopefully we can make a turn and figure out the solution for that too.
Yeah, hopefully it'll come back to a balance here.
I would hope so. Yeah, I think like we were talking about, evolution moves slowly, so maybe we'll realize that this is an issue and then course correct, but it'll take some time.
Yes, let's hope so.
Time to do so.
Yeah. All right, number 3, if you were a member of a secular community, as I've described to you, which is similar to a church in a way, what would keep your interest there and keep you there?
So I was thinking about this too. I like the idea of having like a third space is what they call it. So like you have like your home, right, and then you have work. Those are like your first and second like places or spaces, and then you have what you would call like a third space, and this would be just like a community, like a park, like something like that is just an open area, kind of like non-restrictive, not really like conforming anyway, just like the building itself, just like an open area space where you can come and just like be, and if you can meet people, you can talk about whatever you like, maybe have different not vendors, but like maybe sections, I guess, or vendors that have different things that may pique your interest, and you can go and chat it up with them. But I would say, for me, it would definitely be just something that's a very like open, almost like inviting space, almost like you're not entirely sure what you're gonna get from it, So it's like you're gonna go in there. There's like people there, it sounds fun maybe, you do some marketing behind it, it's exciting, and you're just not like, you don't 100% know what you're gonna get there, but you feel like you're gonna be with community, so that in itself is, enough to like get you there.
Right,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so something like that, I think that would be something that I would be interested in going to.
And what about the traditional Sunday service? If people my age group, right, the millennials or a little bit younger who were in leadership of these communities would somehow compromise with what you're saying and maybe have both. Because we'll still have some of the older people there. Because some of these major mega churches, like our buddy right down the street here, right?
Yeah.
Joel Osteen, the largest church in America.
Yeah.
I've done some research on that and why these mega churches are actually growing, but they do provide a lot of things that human nature wants, a lot of sociology. They're growing. And they do some things you're mentioning. But as far as keeping intact that Sunday morning traditional type thing, would you still go to something like that if there was something added to that that would be more beneficial and appealing to you, like within that hour?
Yeah, I think so. I will say I don't know if I would start at the Sunday morning, just because again for me, like in my head, I'm gonna think church in my head as a Sunday morning, but I'm thinking, if I were to maybe start somewhere and then kind of get to know the people there, and if it's a space that I like, that I want to continue going to, then, and they stated, hey, we also have this, going on Sunday, absolutely. Like I'd be like, oh yeah, I love that. Like I love this. So I think I would love that too. So I would go to that too. But maybe off the bat for me, just off the bat, I don't know, because I feel like it would just be, it would to me signal that it's just going to be church, like another, just like a church. And I've gone to great churches too. I mean, I like that as well, but again, it just doesn't really necessarily like align with where I am, I guess, right now. So that's the only reason why I would be hesitant. I would be hesitant to do that.
Okay,
off the
that's
bat.
interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'm all ears. I want to know what that's why we're here today, right? Because I want to learn. I do discuss this with my children too, and they're in their late 30s, and they're both believers, but they're the more inclusionary believers that don't mind if their daddy is an atheist,
Right, as it should be.
As it should be.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, another question. We already did. What changes would you and your generation like to see in churches or second? Okay. See, I had a baby boomer moment. A baby boomer moment. I need another cup of coffee. Okay, last question for you, Johnna. Here we go. Little drum roll. Last question.
Okay.
Do you think that these type of communities that I've kind of described, kind of a church-like Sunday morning, but with the added, what you're talking about, some of these other activities that are more appealing to younger people, are still needed? And we talked about evolution, natural selection. What do you think? Do you think evolution's leading us away from this group concept? And is it going this way only, isolation, or do you think something like this is still needed?
That, I know, that's a hard one. I think, like, even when you said it the first time, I was like, yikes. Because I feel like maybe needed is the word that I'm getting caught up on, because if I had to answer it like just plainly like that, I think I would say no. I feel like I would say it's not a necessity for it, but I definitely see the value again in having like a third space. I see the value in that. I see the value in community. I see the value in having some sort of like shared in-person connection, like with another human being, and not just on your phone. Like I see the value in, working together for like a purpose, like building something too. So I see the value in that. I see the value like in that space and in what you're doing too. But like on like a, I'll just say national scale for us here, I don't know. I don't, maybe it's not like needed, but I can see where it can be helpful. Okay. I can see where it can be helpful for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think as social animals,
right.
we are. Yeah. We need each other. Yeah. Right? And as far as like-minded communities, I personally believe that it's necessary to have structure and community for people that do agree on certain things, right? That's why you have different type of churches. They have a little differences here and there, a little nuance. So I don't know, it just seems like we still want to gravitate, we as humans, still want to gravitate toward people that we connect with in our beliefs.
Right.
But also now it seems to be that word inclusion. We should be able to love and be kind to people that do have a different opinion.
Right.
So I guess let me ask the question from a different angle, and then we'll close. So you can go to work.
Okay.
If there were a like-minded community that was secular,
Okay.
and we promoted goodness and kindness and love and some of the things that churches do. We provide inspirational talks. Some talks are inspirational. Some are science-based.
Mm-hmm.
Some are educational.
Mm-hmm.
We have entertaining music. Would that be appealing to you at your age group, as well as providing what you call the third space? I like that third space.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have the Sunday morning concept, but a lot of different, you divide that third space into
Gotcha.
multiples.
Yeah. Right. Got you. Exactly.
A lot of different things.
Exactly.
For people your age. Because my understanding, and I've talked to a lot of people your age that are secular, non-religious, and they want to be heard. They want to discuss a topic.
Right.
Rather than just being talked to from some old guy, right?
Yeah.
So maybe there's some I'm thinking maybe there's some kind of compromise.
There is, yeah.
I don't know.
I like that though. I like what you're saying. I like that, to have like that space and different types of that space. And then still having that Sunday morning meeting space too, because that's also sacred for a lot of people as well. Like my mom goes to church every Sunday, my dad every Sunday, you know, they still like, and I get the value in that too. You know, I feel like that's a very like sacred and like holy safe space for people.
Mm-hmm.
Sunday mornings, you know, they don't, that's their routine, that's their thing.
Mm-hmm.
So absolutely, I mean, I feel like that would be the compromise, like having both. And then with that, you can blend like one into another, because once people get comfortable with coming to the Sunday or the third space, then they know about the other and they want to check it out, you know, especially if they're comfortable and they like what they're seeing in one area. I think they'll be more inclined to check out what's going on in the other area too. So maybe that's the compromise there. That's how you like blend it all together.
Okay.
By doing, you know, both.
Well, good. I think I've learned something. This is really good. So I only wish my father would have been open-minded. He was the senior pastor. My brother and I became preachers with him back in the 70s, and then I went independent. But my brother and I used to try to get my dad to change. Like, hey, this is what young people want, and he wouldn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah.
And you can't grow and learn anything because evolution. Life is fluid, right?
Yes,
it keeps changing.
Right,
We got to be open. So, all right. Well, thanks so much for coming on, and I'm going to let you go back to work.
Okay.
So, say bye to everybody. And 1, 2, 3, bye.
Bye.